Going out of your way to order a colossal movie studio to foot your lobster and Grey Goose bill is one thing. Requesting your fellow castmate to partake in some truly bizarre antics or for them to be booted out of a project altogether is something else entirely. Gareth here from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 unusual demands actors made to other actors. Number 10. Daniel Radcliffe goes to Weird Al for accordion lessons. Weird, the Al Yankovic story. You would have forgiven the always game Daniel Radcliffe for opting against throwing himself into the arduous waters that can be the art of playing the accordion when it came time to step into the weirdest shoes imaginable for Weird, the Al Yankovic story. But as the Harry Potter icon would eventually reveal to the New York Times in the lead up to the bizarre biopics released this year, when you're playing Al, to not give it a good, honest attempt seems a wasted opportunity. Well said. So, sure enough, Radcliffe sought out the parody prince himself whenever he could in the making of the True Story feature, with the two getting stuck into accordion lessons on the reg. And despite not quite managing to master the instrument to the point of being able to play the tricky tool with two hands, thanks to Yankovic being generally very available, the star of the flick was able to learn everything he needed for the various songs he'd be depicted playing on one hand or the other. That is good enough. Number 9. Robert De Niro thinks it'd be better if he didn't talk to Mickey Rourke. Angel Heart. Sometimes meeting your heroes isn't all it's cracked up to be, even within the acting sphere, folks. Just ask a deeply disappointed Mickey Rourke, with the wrestler and Sin City star letting it be known a few years back that working with Robert De Niro on 1987's Angel Heart was something of a letdown. Upon first coming up against the movie icon on set, Rourke was stunned to hear his co-star suddenly let him know, "I think it's better if we don't talk because of our characters in the movie. It's better if we don't say hello, talk, or anything." As expected of a performer who looked up to the Raging Bull star like a Marlon Brando or Al Pacino, the entire scenario hurt his feelings a bit. On top of this, Rourke would also claim that De Niro insisted on his co-star not touching him during one specific scene that required some contact. Another unusual move that led Rourke to defiantly confessing, "Now I don't look up to him no more, I look through him." Number 8. A desperate set of demands nearly derail a photo shoot. Desperate Housewives. The sheer level of chaos conjured up by the egos and requests thrown into the mix by the Desperate Housewives cast in the lead up to and during one rather infamous Vanity Fair shoot has become the stuff of show business legend. The story goes that the folks at Vanity Fair were under strict orders from ABC to not let Terry go to wardrobe first. Despite one of her co-stars or the execs behind the show not being all too happy about Terry Hatcher seemingly always getting the best outfits first, the actor still did exactly that, and all hell soon inevitably broke loose. Before long, Marcia Cross had stormed off set due to not wanting Hatcher positioned in the center of the cover shot with her, with Terry soon darting off in a similar fashion and crying into a cell phone over the whole ordeal. Hatcher and Cross wound up on opposite sides of the shot in the end, with the latter and Felicity Huffman ultimately being chopped out of the cover when the fold-out was closed. Ugh, awkward. Number 7. Kanye West wanted everyone to hear his new tracks. Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues. To expect the shooting of Kanye West's cameo in Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues to be a simple and breezy affair would have been pretty darn foolish, to be honest. As it goes, despite only rocking up for a relatively short amount of time in the finished comedy sequel article, Yeezy still managed to throw something of a spanner in the works with the constant playing of his Yeezus album on set. In the flick's star Will Ferrell's words when talking about West's presence on set to the Jonathan Ross show, he was playing the new tracks a lot, over and over. Even when you're trying to film, he's playing the tracks. We got a scared 18-year-old intern to ask him to turn them down. So whether the various names involved in the film's outstanding sea of cameo sequence that was the news team Super Bowl wanted to hear them or not, the iconic music superstar was seemingly hell-bent on blaring his tunes on set. You would not want to be the person to tell that guy to turn them down. Number 6. Angelina Jolie wanted more from Johnny Depp, the tourist. Sometimes the idea of getting to produce movie magic alongside one of the most talented performers of their generation can be a whole lot more exciting than the reality. And that's something Angelina Jolie discovered the hard way in the making of 2010's The Tourist, with the Tomb Raider thespian reportedly not being all too pleased about co-star Johnny Depp not delivering what she expected by the time the two stepped onto set together. As reported by In Touch Weekly, Jolie was a little let down by the fact that Depp hadn't got himself into better shape for the role of Frank Tupello, and also expressed the desire for him to cut his hair for the part too. Depp's poor punctuality also proved to be a frustrating reoccurrence for the leading lady. And on the other side of the coin, Depp was said to have branded Jolie as a prima donna, and was regularly annoyed by his fellow actor taking forever to get ready for the shoot. Simply put, it's no surprise these two haven't acted as frequent collaborators in the years since this 2010 debacle. Number 5. Alison Hannigan made Jason Siegel stop smoking. How I Met Your Mother. Having to lock lips with a co-star in front of a full movie or TV show crew is a pretty uncomfortable act at the best of times, but infuse some seriously dreadful breath into that already difficult scenario, and it's not too hard to understand why Alison Hannigan was so quick to put her foot down on the set of How I Met Your Mother. After initially setting up a system during the shooting of the pilot where Jason Siegel would have to pay his on-screen partner $10 every time he went for a quick cigarette, Hannigan would ultimately note that after the first day, he owed me $200. Damn. Yet, as Siegel himself would soon note following on from said first episode, she told me she would not do any romantic scenes with me as long as I was smoking, and that left me with no other option. But despite going cold turkey for a year, the Marshall Erickson actor soon wound up picking up the habit again upon getting a touch stressed out down the line. And though Hannigan would admit to her co-star consuming mints or gum as a way of masking the smoky taste, nothing could fully erase the fact the actor felt like she was kissing an ashtray at times. Number 4, Jim Carrey demanded everyone refer to him in character. Man on the Moon. By all accounts, it seems as though the capturing of comical Andy Kaufman biopic Man on the Moon on film was an anything but hilarious experience for the most part. Fully immersing himself in the life and role of the iconic American entertainer, Jim Carrey simply refused to break character throughout the entirety of the turbulent shoot, even going as far as to state that he'd been somewhat possessed by the spirit of Kaufman himself in the lead up to shooting the 1999 film. And it was this odd revelation that ultimately led to Carrey demanding to be referred to as Andy or Kaufman's explosive alter ego Tony Clifton by everyone from the film's director Milos Forman to the film's other stars throughout filming. Wrestling legend Jerry Lawler would eventually go on record to admit just how bizarre the whole set of circumstances undoubtedly were at the time, recalling on an episode of Broken Skull Sessions that he quickly realized, after having a bottle of juice hurled at him by Carrey early on, that he got it in his head, I don't know if you call it method acting or whatever, he was gonna channel Andy Kaufman. He became Andy Kaufman for these 80 days that we were on the set filming this movie, so it was crazy. You can say that again. Number 3, Daniel Day-Lewis would only text in character, Lincoln. And keeping in the super method lane for this next entry, Daniel Day-Lewis had one rather surreal request when it came to firing him over a text in the midst of shooting on Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. If you were gonna WhatsApp the Oscar winner, you had to do so in character. That's according to Day-Lewis's co-star Sally Field, who told Time that she often found herself being gifted some lovely ridiculous limerick via text, only to find said message being oddly signed off with a "yours A." Not one to turn down the chance to fully delve into a character though, the fellow Academy Award winner would also confess to replying as Abraham Lincoln's wife, Mary, admitting, "I would text back as Mary, criticizing him for the waste of his time when he might have been pursuing something more productive." And while it may seem a touch bizarre to hear of two thespians playing real-life figures who didn't exactly have the chance to fire over emojis from their iPhones back in the 1800s, their dedication to staying in role on their smartphones ultimately led to another Oscar win and nomination for Day-Lewis and Field respectively. So they must have been doing something right. Number 2, Heath Ledger goaded Christian Bale into actually hitting him, The Dark Knight. It takes a certain type of person to beg for a hulking thespian decked out in full Batman regalia to smash them in the chops for real in the thick of one of the most intense beatdowns in superhero movie history. And Heath Ledger was exactly that sort of provocative soul as it goes. That's according to the Dark Knight himself, Christian Bale, with the star who whacked on the muscle to portray Bruce Wayne admitting via The Hollywood Reporter that his Joker co-star was determined to tease out the authenticity within the pair's now iconic interrogation scene. As Bale would confess, he was kinda egging me on. I was saying, you know what, I really don't need to actually hit you. It's gonna look as good if I don't. And he's going, go on, go on, go on. He was slamming himself around and there were tiled walls inside of that set that were cracked and dented from him hurling himself into them. Getting smacked around by this monstrous performer was likely no joke, but Ledger was seemingly all too happy to double down on his clown prince of crime getting his ass whooped and demanded Bale deliver the legit fury in the making of said hard-hitting sequence. Number 1, Tom Cruise demands his fellow actors go to flight school, Top Gun Maverick. Signing on to appear in a Tom Cruise action flick isn't as simple as nailing a few close-ups and letting your stunt double put in the hard physical yards. Far from it. In fact, during the making of unexpected box office mega hit Top Gun Maverick, the leading man and producer of the jet fuel phenomenon insisted on each and every one of the film's fellow acting pilots be put through his own brand of pilot school to prepare. In order to absolutely nail the feature's gripping aviation sequence, fellow producer Jerry Bruckheimer would note how each of Maverick's on-screen fighter pilots were put through 3 months months of grueling training, involving everything from high-speed jet flights to challenging underwater drills. And in the end, as Rooster star Miles Teller would eventually admit, everybody thought it would be impossible for the actors to really be in the jets, before Hangman actor Glenn Powell would add, "But that's the gift that Tom gave us, that by the time we got up there, we could handle it." And with Maverick still somehow bringing in the big bucks in theaters all over the world, it appears to be a gift that just keeps on giving. Well played, Tom. Well played. And that's our list. Know of any other unusual demands actors made to other actors? Then let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're there. Also, if this kind of thing is your bag, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more incredible articles just like the one this video you are watching right now is based on. I have been Gareth from whatculture.com. Thank you as always for clicking on this lovely video today. Hopefully I'll see your faces very, very soon, but in the meantime, be good to yourself and don't make any weird, unusual demands to other actors.